Somehow, some way, we are halfway through the year that is 2025 already, and in that time, believe it or not, we've had a boatload of excellent AAA and indie video game releases. That said, if some have happened to pass you by, or you're left wondering what exactly are the best rated games of the year, at least according to us, we've got you covered with the following list of 10 best games of the year so far. From blockbuster sequels to beloved indie games, here's the best of what 2025 has had to offer so far. Clare Obscure Expedition 33. Arguably the defining game of 2025 so far, Clare Obscure Expedition 33 continues to dominate the conversation for all the ways it chooses to go against the type of game that big publishers and platform holders continue to chase. It's ostensibly a modern-looking turn-based battler that owes a great debt to classic-era Final Fantasy, but mixed in is a gorgeous French-inspired art style, a hypnotically rhythmic combat system, and a raft of memorable characters. In other words, Clare Obscure Expedition 33 is one of 2025's bravest releases, which makes it even more pleasing to see it regularly celebrated. Spilled, a tiny game made on a boat, seriously, about a boat tidying up the ocean, Spilled takes an impossibly simple concept and makes it endlessly charming and meaningful. Sure enough, you play as a quaint little vessel scooping up and removing any waste plaguing a series of water-laden biomes. The result is a positive and oddly therapeutic experience about doing the right thing that doesn't outstay its welcome. In fact, it will only take you around an hour to complete. It's the embodiment of less is more in video game form, both in terms of what it is and what it has you doing. Assassin's Creed Shadows. After a recent raft of high-profile stumbles such as Star Wars Outlaws and Skull and Bones, Ubisoft claimed back a modicum of respect from a fervent fanbase with the launch of Assassin's Creed Shadows. Sure, it's one of the biggest maps ever presented in the series, but almost every inch of it is packed with an amazing amount of detail and reasons to live out either your shinobi ninja or brooding samurai fantasies. This is the Assassin's Creed game franchise veterans had been crying out for, and for the most part, it more than delivered. Revenge of the Savage Planet. The switch up from a first to third person perspective alone might have been enough to give the Savage Planet universe another look. However, developer Raccoon Logic embeds this wildly more ambitious sequel with so many more reasons to be goofy thanks to the inclusion of more planets to explore, more creatures to catalogue, and more traversal methods in which to do it. In other words, Revenge of the Savage Planet takes everything Journey did and dials it up to 11, presenting more colourful ways to try and find your way home while leaning fully into its trademark satirical and still unusual sense of humour. Atomfall, a very different and noticeably more British take on the well-worn post-apocalyptic sandbox template, Atomfall immediately set a unique impression amongst players for the way it goes against the conventional genre grain. For one, it forgoes having a single main objective in favour of multiple, with most setting you off in wildly different directions amongst this off-kilter version of the beautiful English countryside. This, alongside a unique clue and hint system, ensures that no one player's journey through Atomfall is ever quite the same. This isn't merely British Fallout, it's a beast far more unique and interesting. Wonderstop, a cozy farming and tea brewing simulator where it really doesn't matter how much tea brewing or farming you do, Wonderstop is a cutesy indie game about leaving the grind of daily life behind. It feels very unnatural at first, but thanks to a host of colourful characters and some simple but fun mechanics that are perfect for those who enjoy routine as well as those who do not, Wonderstop serves as a great analogue for knowing when to stop, rest, and take a break. In a world where time is becoming continually precious, Wonderstop is a great game that teaches you how to best spend it. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 kicked off the year in a big way by thrusting players into an ambitious, if abrasive version of 15th century Bohemia, where the simple act of staying alive can sometimes feel like a chore. What this highly anticipated sequel is, however, is one of the most authentic portrayals of this time period presented in a video game ever. It makes for a fun bit of roleplay as the humble yet constantly troubled Henry of Skalitz, with a concluding story that ends up proving that the arduous journey is well worth the destination. This is one for the open world RPG sickos. Death Stranding 2 on the beach. Love him or hate him, Hideo Kojima is one of the few game directors on the planet with the time, money, resources, and collective team talent to make a video game that is 100% his vision. It's this pipeline that gave us the original Death Stranding in 2019, which laid the foundations for a much more confident and less brittle sequel in this year's Death Stranding 2 on the beach. Sam Porter Bridges' new mission to connect Australia is definitely more iterative than evolution, yet there's a willingness from Kojima here to edit himself laced in throughout. It makes for one of the freshest, most ponderous games released in 2025. Split Fiction. An undeniably astounding follow-up to It Takes Two, the previous game from Hazelight Studios, Split Fiction is yet another amazing split-screen multiplayer game that retroactively serves as the perfect pairing. You and your partner play writers unceremoniously trapped within the fictional worlds of their own creation, which sucks for them, but ends up being amazing for players since it means being able to skid, slide, and jump through inventive feats of sci-fi and fantasy. Better yet, Split Fiction never dwells on the same gameplay mechanic or idea for too long. This is easily the best two-player game of the year so far. Monster Train 2. A better, far deeper roguelike deck builder than the original game in almost every way, Monster Train 2 is the perfect example of a sequel taking a if it ain't broke, don't fix it approach, yet takes the time to smooth out the rough edges that came before. New factions, new modes, and new types of card modifiers ensures the act of defending your pyre at the top of a 3-layered train is now much more fun. It brings additional depth without ruining the addictive fun from before. In a sea of roguelike deck builders coming to Steam on a near weekly basis, Monster Train 2 is easily one of the very best. So that just about does it in terms of the 10 best games that 2025 has given us so far. What are your thoughts? Have we missed something, or is this a pretty good list? Be sure to let us know in the comment section below. Then why not subscribe to the All Out Gaming YouTube channel to stay up to date with even more videos like this. Until next time, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.